I'm in the bathroom, I'm crying, and I just refused to come out. My after-school teacher, she was on the other side of the door talking me through, and she's like, Chanel, just like, come on, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, no, the costume is ruined. She was like, just wear the shoes that you have. I said, I can't wear them. They're Timberlands. I'm Cinderella. And she said to me, she's like, just be Cinderella from the hood. I, wiped my tears. I walked out. I had the greatest fun.
Both of my parents were a part of Children's Aid. My mom actually worked under Drema herself. The main reason why I was drawn to the school, Children's Aid was able to provide me all the knowledge that really piqued my interest.
From Cinderella to researcher, given your story, what advice do you have for that next generation?
Be multi-passionate and pursue your passions passionately. Whatever it is that gets you excited, that you look forward to, that makes your heart song sing, do it.
Community schools aren't just about education.
They are about removing barriers to learning so all kids can learn and grow.
And when you support the whole child, you open so many doors.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You too.
Thank you so much for having me.
Super excited about this.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Welcome to Every Step of the Way. I'm Drema Brown, head of school and one of the founders of Children's Aid College Prep Charter School, a K-8 Children's Aid community school in the South Bronx, serving approximately 600 students.
And I'm Abe Fernández, director of the National Center for Community Schools at Children's Aid, which is a technical assistance provider that helps people all over the country to start up, scale up, and sustain community schools. We think that every school should be a community school.
So today we're talking about a subject that you and I spend most of our time on.
Absolutely.
Community schools. Here at Children's Aid, we see community schools as hubs of support and opportunity for the communities we serve. Maybe let's just talk a little bit about what that means for us.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense to start talking about just what we mean by community school. And I think one way that I think about it is that, schools can do a lot, but they cannot do it all. And I think the good news is they don't have to do it all by themselves. So part of what's at the heart of a community school is this idea of bringing the community together as partners to help figure out what it is that young people need and families need and organizing all those resources together. How do you think about it, Julie?
Well, as someone who's been a principal and head of school for many years here in New York, I think of it in the same way. I mean, I think I would describe it as a community school is a learning environment organized around the strengths and the needs of the children served and the communities we're in. So, we like to talk about Children's Aid College Prep as a safe and engaging community hub.
Absolutely. It's really thinking about the school as the hub of the community.
And Chanel's story really brings that to life. So welcome, Chanel.
Hi.
Chanel, we're so happy to have you here. Why don't you say a little bit about who you are and your connection to Children's Aid?
To Children's Aid, yes. First, again, thank you so much for having me. It's truly a pleasure to be sitting here and talking about the really important impact and legacy of Children's Aid. I am a born and bred New Yorker from Uptown, Dykeman. Shout out Dykeman. Proud daughter of immigrants, first generation. Proud dog mom to my dog, Sirius Black Ramirez. I started with Children's Aid as a student. My mom has been working for Children's Aid for almost 30 years. And so I was always in after school. My summer camps, I spent them at Wagon Road. My summers, I spent at Wagon Road Summer Camp. When I was studying, earning my bachelor's, I got my bachelor's in psychology from City College, CUNY. And at that time, I was working in the after-school program for Children's Aid and also as a academic facilitator in the summer camp as well. I worked with Children's Aid for a few years. It was incredible. And after I went the healthcare route, I was doing clinical work. But I noticed that there's just a lot of disparities. And I'm doing my side research. I'm like, why are these things not talking to one another? Why are the world of research and the world of clinical practice and what I'm seeing with my neighbors and my families, no one's talking to each other. And so I went back to school. I got my master's in neuroscience and education from Teachers College, Columbia. And while there, I did research studying neurodevelopment in children. Now I am a community research liaison studying dementia in underrepresented populations.
So what I love about your story is it is the story of what a community hub is, right? So you were there in school, you go on in your education beyond elementary school and manage to find your way back to work with young people in your community and doing it in a way where you're understanding how the systems were at play and working together or not for the young people that you were working with.
Yes.
So as you think about all of the experiences you had at PS5 specifically, and through all the children's aid programs that you experienced, what stands out to you the most as you look back now?
There's so many. Definitely as a kid, as a children's aid kid, after school was so much fun. And summer camp, I mean, that's where I learned how to swim. I rode a horse.
Wow.
I'm, again, from Dykeman. We're not riding horses casually, but, you know, if you were a children's aid kid going to wagon road, you were. And so that definitely just really rich experiences. Now as an adult, I'm thinking, like, I mean, I don't have any children, but like a traditional 9 to 5, school ends, 2:30. So how are you going to pick up your children? Where are they going to go? Can you bring your child to work? Most likely not. Creating these spaces for our children where they're safe, where they're being supported, where they're receiving homework help or receiving some kind of extracurricular and for free is so transformative for the families, and how like they would come running from work or they would just be like so grateful. Definitely just made you realize how important and instrumental the programs that Children's Aid provides are. I loved working with children. It gives you a reason to be silly. So it's such a fun space to be in. And seeing my students grow from the beginning of the school year in September to seeing them at the end of the school year in June, huge transformation. And I was working in an elementary school, so I was working with K through 5, which is a lot of differences in development, 5 years all the way to 10 years. But you get to see these moments where they're realizing the world around them and they're making these connections. And it's so incredible to see. I for sure think that definitely impacted my own interests within research and psychology and brain development. I mean, of course, again, my mom has been working with Children's Aid for 30 years. I was a Children's Aid kid. My brothers were Children's Aid kid. My cousins, even my grandma, actually. I don't, There used to be, I don't know the name of the program. This was, again, in the 90s, so years ago. But she was in some program with Children's Aid. I don't know what older adult it was. But I remember she had this binder, and I would just, like, look through it. And there was this diagram of a body with the different systems. And, like, hello, the full thing. You have your after school, you have your summer camp, you have your school nurses, dentistry. I hope that you guys still have yoga. You used to, yes. So that was my favorite. Being a staff member, I knew that it was for the students, but I was like, we're doing yoga together. We're doing Zumba. All this really rich programming and opportunities to explore, to learn, to be together. It's just really, really special.
So Chanel, let's go back to, you were talking about being a student at PS5,
Yes.
a Children's Aid community school. Like, what do you remember the most? Is it a particular image? Is it a feeling you had there? Is it a particular person? Like, what really has stayed with you since you were a student there?
There's a few, of course. Definitely, like I said, Wagon Road, running around in Chappaqua, New York, learning how to swim. The horses were incredible. I do have this core memory, it's one of my favorites. I was in after school. It was Halloween. It might have been like first or second grade. I was Cinderella. Now, again, this is the 90s, so in place of a glass slipper, I had a little jelly sandal. It was clear with silver glitter. Either me or my mom, we forgot to pack my jellies. And so now the costume is ruined. I'm in the bathroom, I'm crying, and I just refuse to come out. And my after-school teacher, her name, I don't remember her full name. I know her first name is either Vanessa or Veronica. Vanessa, Veronica, if this finds you. Sorry that I'm not remembering the full name right now. But she was on the other side of the door talking me through it. And she's like, Chanel, just like, come on, it's going to be okay. I'm like, no, the costume is ruined. And she was like, just wear the shoes that you have. I said, I can't wear them. They're Timberlands. I'm Cinderella. And she said to me, she's like, just be Cinderella from the hood. And I, wiped my tears. I walked out. I had the greatest fun. I would tell everybody, we'd be like, oh, look, it's Cinderella. And I would say, nope, it's Cinderella from the hood.
Cinderella.
You cannot tell me anything. And it's so like funny and silly, but in that moment, it was the biggest thing to me. Like, it was just the biggest thing to a 7-8-year-old to not have her full costume and just to have someone like validate you, but make it cool and in a way that just like made it so personable. Like, yeah, wear your Tims and be Cinderella, and you're still fabulous, and you're still a fairy princess, and like, go have fun. And it just stayed with me. And I don't think at that time that I would have realized it was going to be that much of a core memory, but it is. And it's just it makes me laugh every time I think about it.
It's a great story.
Yeah. So thank you, Chanel, for sharing those stories and those experiences. So Abe, what do you think, as you listen to her stories, what do you think makes a community school different?
I think what Chanel's story reminds us about community schools is that it is all about relationships. And we heard that powerful relationship that she had with the staff, with her family being engaged in the school as well. I think, part of what makes a community school is this philosophy that first, we should put kids at the center of the work. And that's a really important way to think about how we want to move the strategy forward. But it's also thinking about how schools can be the centers of community. And if we think about all of the challenges that sometimes kids have to work through to be successful as young people, as students, as citizens, community schools help to bring all those partners together in relationship. To look at data together, to learn together, and to come up with solutions together. So I think we heard a lot of that connection that makes those solutions possible.
It got me thinking about how, the Cinderella story is a beautiful story. At the same time, there are lots of children who have, different experiences going on. Maybe their mom doesn't also work in or near the school that they were attending in elementary school. And, to Abe's point about community schools being a place where these resources can come together in support, I was thinking about something we talk a lot about in community schools, chronic absence. When children miss a lot of school. In elementary school, usually there are reasons in the home or adult reasons that prevent them from getting to school. And as they get older, very often, it could be some of the same things, but often tends to be disengagement from school for various reasons, right? So, this idea of really coordinating those resources that help the adults understand why children aren't getting to school is what makes a community school so powerful, potentially, right? There are children who don't get to school because they're between homes. There are children who don't get to school because they have one parent, and that one parent is ill and going through maybe cancer treatments, and being able to provide some links to community resources that help that family in that moment get that child to school. That's an example, just one little example of how community schools can really help, make that connection so that children and their families come first.
Yeah.
And the realities of the community are addressed.
It really is sort of thinking about the whole child, right? And understanding who young people are as students, as athletes, as artists, as leaders. So it's a pretty broad view of what schools can do. So how does that, when you hear us describing community schools that way, how does that touch down in your experience when you were at PS5?
It became more apparent as a staff member. Again, just seeing our students, but also building these relationships with the parents. And hearing from the parents like how grateful they were, or them telling us like his little brother was sick all night, so I know that he didn't sleep last night. So like if he's cranky or if he's tired, like just to communicate and express that. I think that, and this is something that we practice in my current research lab, where we do community engaged research, and I see a lot of similarities with my role as a scientist and also the work that Children's Aid has done in that community engagement and in that relationship building. It's not just about making that connection. It's not just about dropping your kid off and picking them up. How do we sustain and build these relationships so there's crosstalk amongst both of us, and so that we can build and support each other? For community schools, like what are the barriers that are keeping you from coming to school? What is keeping you from getting your grades up? Is there something that you don't understand? Is there something that maybe, I don't know, maybe let's take you to the nurse. Maybe you aren't feeling good, so you go to the nurse. Or maybe you need glasses and they can do your vision exam.
Absolutely.
Similar with research, like what are these barriers that are keeping people and communities that are underrepresented and minoritized and marginalized groups from getting care, from getting quality education, getting quality health care, from being included in research studies about the brain and brain development. It's not just about getting that attendance. Of course, it's important. It's important to get your attendance. It's important for us to, on a research end, meet our recruitment goals so we can, check that off. But how do we do this meaningfully so that they feel included in the work, so that they know that this is a partnership and we're working together in the best interest of our community?
So as you reflect on being a student at PS5, as being on the staff at a Children's Aid community school, how did those experiences shape your career path, do you think? Like, what opened up for you as a result of that?
There's so many. There really is so many. Definitely, like, as a student in Children's Aid, it for sure just helped me be a full person, and just gave me really such a rich childhood. The theme of today's topic is on community schools, and the research that I do is community engagement within brain development. When I was a staff member, I did the Mind in the Making training, which I absolutely
Great
loved.
training.
It was phenomenal. I think about it still to this day. I absolutely loved it. At the time, I was studying psychology, and my research interest has always been within neuroplasticity. So the two just were like, it was so synchronous. No, that's not the word. Serendipitous. There was magic.
We got it.
It was really, it just really fed into each other. And a lot of that, like neuroplasticity, the mind in the making, I incorporated into the curriculums that I worked with my students. And again, just carrying on this community engagement model in my research career. As I was studying, both undergrad and also when I was doing neuroscience research at Columbia, there's so much incredible research. And I was really, again, focusing neuroplasticity, but looking at it as within the social determinants of health. Why is the academic lab and the clinical lab and our schools and our communities, why is nobody talking to each other? The work that I do as a researcher is focusing on underrepresented populations, because so much of our research is largely not, people like us aren't included as research participants, as the researchers and clinicians. And this is a problem. This is a problem. One of the important things about research, good research, is that your results are generalizable. We want that high generalizability because that means that there's high external validity.
Right.
And so if you have this really important question, what are the implications of poverty and how that affects children's brain development? Like that study needs to be representative of our population, of all of us. Currently I'm at a dementia research lab. Dementia affects everybody, but it affects us all differently. Blacks and Latinos are overrepresented when it comes to dementia diagnosis. Blacks, African Latinos are twice as likely to develop dementia, and Latinos are 1.5 times as likely.
Wow.
Yet we are underrepresented in these research that informs the clinical trials, so the medications that perhaps our abuelitas receive, but also in understanding how these disease process manifests in our communities. It's different. There is historical reason why our populations are approach science with hesitation. And I think it's really important to recognize that, not ignore it. But how do we rectify that so that our communities and our populations are included in the research as more than just a participant? The work that we do now with the Environment Lab, we use a community engagement model, and we work, again, it's with. So I, as a community research liaison, I essentially work as a bridge between the community and the clinicians. And the work that we do is in partnership with our community. We hold quarterly meetings, our Community Science Partnership Board meetings, where we bring in our community members from different organizations, just from around the neighborhood, and we share our research results. We also share that with our participants so they know about their health, and ask, how can we make this research better? What are we missing so that people are comfortable, so that they feel safe, so that they're engaged, so that they're empowered? We did similar things when I was at Columbia doing the brain development study, another advisory partnership board meeting for the Baby's First Year study, which I worked at while at Columbia, which was the first poverty intervention study in the United States that explored how supplemental cash gifts can affect a family's and children's brain development, cognition, thinking. And so we're in this advisory board meeting. We're meeting with all of our scientists at our study and different industry leaders. And we're on Zoom and everyone's introducing themselves. And Phoebe Boyer was one of our advisory board leaders.
Wow.
And
we've
so,
heard of her.
and so she's, hi, I'm Phoebe Boyer, I'm president and CEO of Children's Aid, and I was so happy, I was so excited. So when it came around my turn to introduce myself, hi everyone, I'm Chanel Ramirez, I'm the researcher here for the New York City site. And Phoebe, it's so great to meet you because I'm a Children's Aid kid.
Love it.
And I know that she was really happy. As soon as our meeting ended, I, of course, called my mom. And, I'm like, Mommy, you'll never guess who was in my meeting, Phoebe. And, of course, it really was exciting for me to have that full circle moment now, doing my research career. And still having that tie back to Children's Aid was really, really fun. It really is remarkable.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, so inspiring, and listening to what you're studying. I just know it's just going to have such a meaningful impact on the communities we serve.
I hope that's the dream. That's the hope. Thank you.
From Cinderella to researcher, right? So given your story, what advice do you have for that next generation, those Children's Aid kids coming behind you?
Future Children's Aid kids. Be multi-passionate and pursue your passions passionately. You don't have to just stick to one thing. Whatever it is that gets you excited, that you look forward to, that makes your heart song sing, do it. Do it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. And what's powerful is that, these experiences that you talked about, they don't just stay in one moment. They really carry us forward.
And so now we're joined by someone who represents the next chapter.
Troy, thank you so much for being here with us. Do you want to say a little bit about who you are and your connection to Children's Aid?
Well, thank you very much. Hello, my name is Troy Brown. I am currently a freshman I'm studying mechanical engineering in the University of Madison, well, University of Wisconsin-Madison. Um, I am also a Posse Scholar, which is a full tuition scholarship that I received for my merit and also my leadership that I posed in my high school career. Before that, in my elementary and also my middle school career, I was a part of Children's Aid College Prep Charter High School, which was a kindergarten through eighth grade school in Bronx, New York, which I was thankfully able to get into in the half of my kindergarten year. My both of my parents were part of Children's Aid. My mom actually worked under Drema herself, and my dad worked in another agency that worked on 45th Street in downtown Manhattan. And also, he recently, in the last 5 years, he moved up to the Bronx, which he was able to be a little bit closer to me and my family, which has really helped me grow as a person inside and outside of school.
So you, Troy, were able to have a pretty full children's aid experience from kindergarten through eighth grade. What stands out to you the most about your early experiences?
So actually, funny enough, the first thing, which is very minor, that came to my mind was actually advisory when I was in uh, I believe elementary and also middle school. So I believe advisory was it was about an hour block between I believe the beginning or the end of our class days where we were just able to sit in like a homeroom talking to other people in our class, which was normally just people in our grade, and we were just able to like relax a little bit and also just talk about issues that we might have during the school day and also talking about more of how we feel that was a little bit less academic. And also something like similar to advice was also the many field days that I believe that we had while I was in elementary and middle school, which really helped me build relationships with a lot of my classmates that I might not have been able to see every single day, or I didn't talk to them on more of like a social, less academic sense, which those two advisory and also field days really helped me build a very strong connection with the people in my class.
Thank
That's
you for that.
beautiful.
Really, really important work and such a great memory. I'm so glad you shared that. So now let's think about today. You're now a student at Wisconsin. You're studying engineering. How do you think your experiences at Children's Aid kind of gave shape to what you're doing now?
So yes, Children's Aid, what they are is in the name. It's a college prep school. So very thankfully,
So
the
check.
school was very. So they gave me a not a brief knowledge, but they gave me a pretty in-depth knowledge in most topics that I would do in my high school and also my college career. So we would have different like life sciences class, different math sciences, and also like different like English courses that we have to take inside of those elementary and middle school classes, which I think really helped me propel like my knowledge in my high school career. Because thankfully, with the knowledge that I was given in Children's Aid College Prep Charter School, I was able to become the salutatorian of my graduating class in high school.
Hey,
And I believe
Yes.
that was one of the main reasons that I was able to get the scholarship to come to this very much prestigious university that University of Wisconsin-Madison is, because specifically for my major at least, I think they're the 13th rated engineering program, which is the main reason why I was drawn to the school because they have such a good social life, they have such a good academic and academic like prowess that I felt that that's what I really wanted to do and excel in my academic career, which Children's Aid was able to provide me all the knowledge and all the intermediate like math classes or like the science classes that really piqued my interest, which allowed me to get more in depth in the engineering that I would later pursue in my college career.
Yeah, I know Dr. Fleshman is going to love to hear that.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And any thoughts about what you want to do in terms of career? You don't have to decide today, but just wondering if you have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, so like currently I'm not declared yet, but I guess it would be like a pre-engineering track because
Okay.
in my college you have to like meet progression and you declare in your second year of college like most colleges do.
Right.
So right now I am like declared like I guess a pre-mechanical engineering track right now, but I have been also thinking about maybe switching to some sort of industrial engineering and staying in that sort of space, and that will hopefully get me into maybe HVAC of some sort of buildings or maybe some sort of system optimization that I can be able to access the skills that I'm learning now to do that in my career.
Sounds terrific.
So when you hear Chanel's stories, Troy, what resonates for you?
So actually, the first thing that like caught my mind was Wagon Road because I didn't completely forget about Wagon Road, but like once Chanel said Wagon Road and what that camp truly provides for us, it made me remember so many memories because I think I went to Wagon Road for basically every single year that I was eligible. I think I believe I did go there from kindergarten at least up to sixth, maybe
You
seventh
sure
grade.
did. You were there every
So
summer.
I was there for a while. So it was really cool just like remembering all those memories, all the overnights that we did in Wagon Road and all like the day trips that we also were able to like go to, which was really cool. Which I didn't learn how to swim there, but that really helped me like learn how to swim. Like horseback riding, like Chanel said, that was really, really fun because that was like a block that we got to do a good amount of the days. So that was really cool. And also like the zip lining and all the outdoor experiences.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all coming back
Yes.
now.
Coming back.
That was,
Zip lining, the
Yeah.
rock climbing.
yes.
Yeah.
So that was really cool because you don't really get that in like New York City. There's not really much that you can really zip line or you can rock climb because we live in a city, so there's not much like horses that you can really go. So unless you go to a zoo, and in a zoo you can't really ride them. So that's really cool that they were able to like provide that experience to us, which was really, really engaging. And also because I went for a good amount of years, I was able to see other people that also continuously went to the program during the summer. So I was able to see them progress as people and also build like some relationships that I still have today. It was really cool to see how people grow year in and year out, which I feel like is very cool to just have that community that was built in Wagon Road that you might have from your academic year in school, or because I think there was plenty of schools that were provided in Wagon Road.
Yeah.
So like you able to see them every single summer was really cool to me, and also like building those relationships was very important.
Yeah, I remember sometimes when I would go up to Wagon Road during the summer to just check in on you all, make sure you were doing what you're supposed to be doing up there. And you all would see me. I'm up in there with my little suit on, and you'd be like, "What are you guys doing up here? What are you doing up here?" It was an interruption to the magic of Wagon Road. But I'm glad that resonated for you. Chanel, you were going to say something?
You mentioned the overnight, and I like unlocked a memory. So I'm first generation Dominican. I have very strict Dominican parents. I was not allowed to sleep anywhere. I would beg, and they would say, "Tú tienes tu cama," like you have your own bed. And it was time for summer camp, and it was the overnight, and I begged. And we had 2 overnights, I think, because it was like session 1, session 2. Session 1, my mom, again, you have your bed. No. And then, but that
Your mom worked at Children's Day.
My mom worked at Children's Day. That was the one and only one. Like every other overnight, I was allowed to have that. And so, that was my one and only time as a kid. Like sleeping, like having a slumber party, essentially. My first time having s'mores because we had a campfire.
Nice.
And the night sky. Because again, like I live in Manhattan. There's so much light pollution. Wagon Road is upstate in Chappaqua. The stars at night were so gorgeous. I like remember coming back home being like, that was the greatest night ever.
And just every kid deserves that kind of experience, right?
100%. Yeah, because why can't everybody ride horses? Why is it only the kids of the Upper East Side who can go to the Hamptons and ride their horse?
Right.
So yeah, community schools aren't just about education.
They are about removing barriers to learning so all kids can learn and grow.
And when you support the whole child, you open so many doors.
Chanel, Troy, thank you both so much for sharing your stories and being with us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you all for listening and joining us.
And we'll see you next time on Every Step of the Way.
Yay!